Hey fam, it's CJ and we are here tonight to talk about Love and Marriage Huntsville. But as always, before we get started, make sure that y'all thumbs up this video. And while you're thumbs up in this video, go ahead and tap that subscribe button so that you can see everything else that I put out. Also, as always, y'all know I like to interact. So make sure that you comment your thoughts, suggestions, or anything else that you feel the need to do. With that out of the way, we'll go ahead and get started with this episode. This was a really good episode. This was season 2, episode 18, and they called this episode Checked Out. And we're going to talk about why it was called Checked Out a little later on in the video. But the episode starts out with Letitia, and we see Letitia in the kitchen cooking. She is preparing breakfast for her family. Marsau comes down and she wants to talk to him about what went down at the women's retreat. I take it was the night before, but they're talking and she just kind of tells him that everything was going great. Everything was going fine. They had wine. They were drinking, playing games. Everything was cool until Destiny decided that she wanted to have this conflict resolution session, and that's when things went left. Now, Marsau, he asks Letitia because she tells him that Melody gave her this story about why their friendship began to crumble, or the point that she thought the friendship began to crumble. And Letitia told her that was BS. And we all remember that from last week. And Marsau asked her if she really wants to resolve this, or if she really wants to move forward with Mel. She says yes. So he says, well, if you want to move forward with her, why start a fight? Why start an argument in this setting that was made for you guys to actually, reconcile or get to a point where you can be around one another? And Letitia listens, and she, of course, doesn't feel like she was wrong in this situation, which on one hand she wasn't, and then on the other hand she probably could have handled it a little different. And that was Marsau's point. He feels like, okay, you can feel that way. However, that necessarily wasn't the moment for you to express that. And he tells her that she needs to lend Mel a listening ear because they are drowning over there. The Holts are really drowning. They're going through a lot. And instead of you coming to her with this conflict, that you ought to offer a little compassion. And those are kind of my words, but that was what he was saying. Anyway, we then go on to the next scene and we see Kimmy. She stops by Melody's because she wanted to check up on her after everything that had went down, and to see how she was doing and to let her know that she was there for her. Now, Mel, in her confessional, she tells us that she does recognize that Kimmy is in a tough spot because she is dealing with the drama with Letitia and Miss Wanda. And so she already knows that that's kind of a touchy subject, or their relationship, meaning Letitia and Kimmy's relationship, is kind of on rocky ground right now. And she recognized that. And so she understood that. But in the same breath, she tells Kimmy that she felt like she should have spoken up when Letitia was going in on her. And Kimmy was kind of like, well, do I stay out of the middle or do I get in the middle? Which one is it? Because y'all are telling me, well, Melody is telling her that she does want her to remain neutral. She doesn't want her to pick a side, but you kind of do want her to pick a side. And both of them are wanting her to pick a side at this point. And I don't necessarily feel that it's right. Kimmy doesn't want to pick a side, and she shouldn't have to. These are two grown women who cannot get it together amongst one another, and they should not pull a third party into this drama, into this mess. And I just think that is wrong. But Mel lets Kimmy know that Martell does have a baby on the way, and Kimmy was acting fake surprised. I'm quite sure that you and Maurice have had a discussion, and Maurice let you know after that boys trip, after that camping trip, that yeah, it's a baby, but don't say anything. So she had to act fake surprised when Melody told her that yes, Martell does have a baby on the way. And she was like, okay, that's crazy. I wasn't expecting that. I mean, she was really like playing it up. But then she asked Melody, is she dating? Because she has seen Melody like posting on her social media, I guess, wine and candles and like these intimate kind of settings. And I've seen it as well. But Melody tells her no, she's not. She got 4 kids. She ain't got time to be dating nobody. But she is open to entertaining, the right person if they come along. So. But I heard somewhere through the grapevine that she was seeing somebody, but it ain't none of my business. But that's what she said. Now, where are we? Oh, so, Mel, she says in her confessional, that because we know Martell has been going around telling everybody that she's been cheating on him. And she says that she pities Martell because Martell is just trying to tear her down to build himself up at this point. And she really feels sorry for him. So then we see in the next scene, Martell, speaking of him, he goes to see Maurice, and he's going to see Maurice to seek counsel, like to get advice, because we know that Maurice went through a divorce with Monster's mom. So I guess Martell feels like he can offer him some advice on the situation. Now, Maurice is asking him if he really, really wants this divorce. And he says deep down he doesn't. And his reasoning for saying it was not because, oh, I am terribly in love with my wife. I still love her. I love her to death. I want us to, be together and all this. But he just really says that he just thinks of all the good times they had as a family. And I think that Martell, he's in love with the idea of this family unit, this whole family unit. And that may have a lot to do with his father being absent for most of his life or not present, and coming from a broken family. I think that he really wants that unit, but it's not because he's in love with his wife, because he has never said, I still love Melody. He always brings up these good times, these memories that they've had together, but it always involves like the children. And so I think that he's in love with that. He's not in love with her. And that's not really going to work, because you want your family. You just want to be able to call this your family, to have a wife and children, but you still got your mistress on the side and a new child. So this new life is not going to work for Melody, especially. But Maurice encourages him. With that being said, he didn't really catch what Martell said, but he just says, I still see how you light up when you talk about her, talk about your family, which he did not. But Maurice encourages him to just fight, until there ain't no more fire left, fight for your marriage. Don't give up on it. That was his advice. So now we see the Scotts, Marsau and Letitia, they're at Black, and they're kind of doing like this menu tasting for the soft opening that they're going to have soon. And the chef brings out these sad looking plates. I mean, those plates looked so sad. The food might have been good, but the presentation was absolute trash. Like, it did not look good at all. So Marsau was like, I'm gonna eat the food, but you really got to work on this presentation, because, our reputation is on the line, and it's got to look good. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be pricey. They're going to have like these small plates. It's not going to be like a place where you can get like a meat and 3 or anything like that. They're just going to be small kind of appetizer kind of plates that people would use or to enjoy while they eat while they smoke and drink or whatever. So I think that it's a really cool idea, but they're going to have to pick it up because those, what was it, some buffalo chicken quesadillas? I mean, it was like 4 pieces on a plate. It looked like something that they would serve a kid, like a kid's meal or something. You know, they don't care about what kids' meals look like, but it didn't look good to me. Now, while they were there, Marsau tells Letitia that he's thinking about making Jalen the GM for that spot. And she's kind of unsure about that because he just graduated college, and does he really have the managerial experience to successfully run like a lounge, like run this kind of business? And Marsau is just saying, you know, he's got to learn this. This is going to be a learning experience for him, that I think that he can do it. He's got the determination and blah, blah, blah. But she feels like they should bring in somebody with experience, being that they have probably put a ton of money into this project and a lot of time. She doesn't necessarily want to see it go under just due to the lack of management or the lack of experience. So she thought that maybe they should hire someone to kind of, oversee Jalen. And Marsau felt like that was just too much overhead, which it is. But most restaurants have like a GM and an assistant manager at least. So I think that might have, in my opinion, they should probably hire the lady that Letitia has in mind and let Jalen work under her for a while and then see how that goes. But they're not going to do that. Marsau has made up in his mind that Jalen is the man for the job. Jalen's going to get it done, and that's what it's going to be. Now, Marsau later brings Jalen to the spot, and he's showing him, operations, like order of operations, just kind of showing him how things will be, just so he will get a feel and an understanding of his role as a manager, what it would be. And thank God, he had like another chef in there working with the chef that's going to be preparing the meals on presentation. He was, kind of giving him tips and what to do to kind of make things look better. And I'm glad, because I wouldn't pay my money for those sad plates that bro was bringing out earlier. But while they're talking, Marsau lets Jalen know that he has a lot of faith in him and that this is a big deal. He's dependent on him. The customers are dependent on him for the best experience, from the time they walk into the place, from the time that they leave. And basically, Jalen, he is, excited about the opportunity because Marsau tells him that I not only want you to be a general manager, but I want to actually have you be a partner in this business, part owner. So that's kind of an incentive for him to work hard, because he doesn't want anything that he owns to go under, you would imagine. But Jalen wasn't even really trying to check for Marsau. He had to leave. He cut the meeting short, told him he had somewhere to go. And that was strange to me, because he did the same thing last week when Kimmy and Maurice were talking to him about what his plans were for the future. He cut them off too and told them that he had to go. So I'm wondering, is this something that's developing like a part of a storyline? Like, is he going to see a female? Is he like stripping on the side? I mean, what is Jalen doing that he can't sit still and pay attention to what his family is talking to him about? What do y'all think? I don't know. Something in the water ain't clean. But anyway, we go to Melody, and she is at the office formerly known as Holt and Holt, and she is now changing it over to, I think, Melody S. Holt, like Holdings or something. She done got the name. They're scraping the name off the door. She's getting ready to put her new monogram on the door. Like, she is done with Holt and Holt. It was dissolved a couple weeks ago, as we remembered, and now she's moving forward. So I guess the building was in her name. I guess Martell didn't have any parts of that, because she has completely taken it over. And while they're there getting that together, Marsau pulls up. Now, this was kind of odd because, he's there to kind of finish or give this effort of reconciliation another nudge between Melody and Letitia. He feels like they need to be friends, or I guess he feels like since he and Martell are working towards repairing their friendship, that the two of them should do the same. Not sure why, but he shows up and Melody is kind of like, what are you doing here? And it was kind of random for him to show up. And he is basically telling her that he wants her to come to the soft opening at Black. And she kind of clowns him because Black still isn't finished. And we remember when Melody told him that he can't finish, he can't finish a project. She told him, finish a project before you come for me, or something crazy. I forgot what it was, but they kind of laughed and joked about that because it's still not done. And we know there's a lot of bad blood between Melody and Martell. Not Martell, obviously Martell, but Marsau. But, she does listen to him, and she tells him that she may, come. She might be there, and he lets her know that, did he let her know that? I think he lets her know that Martell will be there, just, letting her know up front. But she says that she might come. So next we get to the scene that everybody had been waiting for all episode. We see Chris, who's the broker, and his wife, Miss Nell. They have decided that they are going to get Melody and Martell together to talk to them, to try to counsel them, to try to really get them to drop all this stuff and to get back together. Well, Melody shows up. Martell knew. So Martell is already there. Melody shows up and she's kind of blindsided because Miss Nell didn't tell her that that Martell would be there. She was just there under the impression that they were just going to talk, she and Miss Nell. But she doesn't leave, and Martell's kind of surprised about that because he expected for Melody to be like, oh no, I'm gone. But she does, she entertains him. She comes in and they're kind of talking, and Martell, he's happy to know that she didn't leave. And the elders, I'm gonna call Chris and Miss Nell the elders, they're kind of on this belief that they have children together and they built too much to walk away from it. But Melody feels otherwise, and Martell, deep down, you could tell he doesn't want this divorce, but he doesn't want the divorce for the image. He doesn't want to, love, honor, cherish, and respect his wife. He wants to remain married because of the image that it carries. And so they asked the two of them, if they want to be married, and Mel basically just says no. And Martell just feels like she's not being serious about this discussion, and she is being serious about it. But we could tell that Mel's, her defense mechanism is often in joking, or she'll say something and it passive aggressive, but she's like, who do I want to be married? She was like, do I want to be married or do I want to be married to him? And that just made him mad that she said that. But she doesn't want to be married to Martell anymore. And it's very evident. And it's very evident that she is really, really hurt. But Melody basically tells him that, the disrespect and the public humiliation is just what she could not deal with anymore. And she just is not going to deal with it anymore. And she said that he has been with multiple women, not just the mistress that he just impregnated, but there were two people that she had found out about, I guess, 2 years later or years later or something. And that just set him all the way off because he begins cussing and he begins calling her a victim. And he, at this point, just flipped the script. He really started showing his true colors. He was cussing and it was just crazy. He was just telling her, he started throwing in her face that she wasn't satisfying him. She wasn't pleasing him. So he was going to find it elsewhere. And when he said that, he kept saying it, and he kept, I guess, degrading her as a wife or as a woman. And so she like started throwing drinks. I mean, that was it for her. So now the meeting is over at this point because production got to come in and they basically got to tell Martell he needs to shut up and stop talking because he's setting her off. They're going back and forth. He's cussing. And I mean, it's just a mess. And poor Chris and Miss Nell are like, oh my God, this was a bad idea. This was terrible. And so when Miss Nell pulls Melody to the side and Melody tells her or mentions the baby, she was surprised. She was like, so he really is having a baby? And I'm just thinking to myself, why is it that none of these people know about this baby? Social media knew about the pregnancy and about the baby, I mean, months ago. Yet the people closest to them in their circles do not know about this baby. And like, she was genuinely shocked. She was like, are you serious? And I think when she found that out, she did kind of understand why Melody does not want to be with this man anymore. And it started making sense to her. And so Chris, he's trying to talk to Martell, who's now in his truck getting ready to leave. And he can't get a word in edgewise. Martell won't shut up. Martell keep talking, so he basically has to walk away from him and let him leave. And he comes back to check on Melody to see if she's okay. And he also was just like, he wouldn't stop talking. And so I couldn't say much to him. And so they asked Mel if she's okay, and she's fine, but she did apologize and offered to help them clean up. But she just let them know, he wouldn't shut up. He wouldn't stop talking, and it just set me off. And that's who he is. That's how he is. And, she just was kind of glad that other people could see what she has been dealing with, I guess, for years. So that was where the episode ended. And next week looks like it's going to be pretty good because it looks like some of the businesses that the Scotts have started are actually going to start opening. So that'll be exciting to see. And I'm sure we might get some more of the Holt drama. I don't know. But that's all I got for this video. Again, make sure you like it, comment, share it. Let's bring some more people in on the discussion. And with that being said, I will see you all in the next one. Y'all have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.